Hi everyone, I get asked all the time about the kindergarten curriculum. I want to start by saying ACE kindergarten curriculum is excellent. I usually start about 3.5, 4-year-olds on the kindergarten curriculum with ACE. The reason for this is because it doesn't involve a lot of reading. It involves a lot of dot to dot. Basically, they have to have the attention span to sit and listen because it's a lot of stories. It's great moral stories, offers a lot to the kids, and it's just phenomenal stories, and I really do like it. But it doesn't really lend itself to them having to have a special skill set except for being able to sit and listen to stories. This is the binders. It's probably the most expensive part of the whole curriculum is buying these binders. That one time you have to buy. This is your teacher manual. So in some curriculums, what you have to do is they give you kind of the basic outline and then you write the rest of the curriculum. You'd say, when we wake up in the morning, we do this and this and this. That is all in here. It's all in the teacher's manual. There's 4 binders and they're all this size. None of them are smaller. So this is just for you. The kids never need this. What the kids will have is their paces. There will be 12 math, 12 English, 12 science, 12 social studies, and 12 word building. They are all really important to it. We'll get into a little bit more detail later. When you get your manual, you open it up and it tells you exactly what to do. In the first manual, this is the 4th one, but in the first one it even tells you how to tell stories that hold the interest of the kids. It's really good. The kids will memorize some verses in this. They'll memorize the pledge to the flag, I believe. It's several different things that are really, really good. You as a homeschool parent get to decide if you want to keep that in there or take it out. So at the very beginning of it, it talks about the things you need. What I do is I go through and decide what I want to do and what I don't want to do. It's totally up to you. I do put a high priority on reading the stories because there's just so much character building in it. It's really good. And even my older kids will stop what they're doing and listen to these stories, even though they've heard it over and over and over again as the kids go along and do it, but they still like to do it. So as you go on down, it talks about early preparation. That's what you do, the night before to get ready for it. And then it talks about reviews, opening activities. That obviously is more school setting, but you can totally use some of it. It even has when to do bathroom breaks in here. So here's the 2 pledges, Christian flag, pledge to the Bible, and then it talks about the American flag and what it is and explains. All of it is like this, and then it'll tell you what pace you give the kids. So in the first one, RR01 would be the first one you give them. In these paces, in word building is going to be an imperative pace in this because it has all the pictures. So the pictures are in their word building in their purple pace, and the story that you read is in here. It'll have the picture, it'll tell you when to tell them to turn the page, so they literally get to keep this on their lap. And I just fold it over like this and I read the story and they look at this picture, and I think this is Tiny Tiger. And it's a little bit different than the other ones because it has a little mouse in every picture. So as they listen to you, they can find the mouse and then you can say, hey, do you see the mouse? So it's just really, really cool stories. Tiny Tiger learns some lessons on responsibility, I think. I'm trying to remember what his story is about. It's been a little while. And it just goes through and you have the different stories and you read and your kid flips pages and you do little chunk of that story one day, and then you go on and you do social studies and science and math. For those, every page is shown on these papers. So for example, here's English. Your child will open up their English. You'll say, oh, it's time for English, and they'll open it up and they'll have these pages. You, in your folder, will have the same pages in black and white. So that makes it so easy because you can just look for the page they opened up to and then come over here and then read the instructions. There's no instructions on the kids. All there are pictures. And your manual will explain what these pictures mean. This means look for, and then you read what they're supposed to look for. It'll be like, look for the cat that is under the tree, or look for the cat that is on the tree. Then listen to what your teacher says and then circle it. And on each one, here you're supposed to color the picture and then show it to your supervisor. So everyone is just a little bit different. We have science is going to be a lot of finding what's different what tools do you have in your house. I will say that the kindergarten, they have not updated it as much as the rest of the curriculum. So there's still rotary phones in this, and my kids, one of them, my favorite thing is when there's a car, a house, and a telephone, and it says which one goes ring ring. And my kids, it's not a cell phone, it's a telephone, and cell phones don't go ring ring. So the kids will be like, maybe the car or the house, the doorbell, ring ring, you know, and they're trying to figure it out. And I'm like, well, this is a rotary phone and this is the sound it makes. Phones used to make a ring ring sound, and it's great to talk about, but it is outdated a little bit. Great opportunity for them to learn. They are updating it. They're just starting at the older, 12th grade, and then going backwards. And I think they have a lot of it done already. So science covers a lot of, you know, what do we smell? Here's your nose, the senses. What do we smell? Do we smell a saw or do we smell perfume? That type of things. Word building is the story. English covers, it kind of backs up the story. This is the letter Y, it's try butterfly. Which one starts with the letter J? Jar, does it start with J or W? Stuff like that, just reinforcing. The social studies has Bible stories in it. It's a little bit like the word building. It has pictures of the Bible characters, and it usually does it from a kid's perspective. Jesus healing the lame man, and the little girl gets to see it and watch it. It is a lot of reading on the parents' side. There's lots of pages of reading and lots of instruction, but you can usually get it done in just a couple of hours, so it doesn't take that much work. If you have older kids, they can read to the younger ones, and usually they delight in doing it because they get to hear the stories again. They're just really fun stories. As you go through the curriculum, there's aging ape who eats too much and can't get through the door, and he learns not to grab the biggest banana, but to just grab whichever one he touches first. And it's just really, really good character building. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The tabs on this, you can see there's tabs, and that tells you what animal you're going to learn. We also look at YouTube videos on these animals, like a civet. Never had heard of that before. We looked up civets and watched some videos of them kind of running around and learned a little bit about them. There's great learning opportunities in all of this. So if you have any questions, post them below. I can remake this video, make it better. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here on just a basic overview, but I'd love to answer your more distinct questions. Hopefully that gives you a good summary of it. They do have a test. This one isn't in the middle for some reason. I'm not sure why. But it's going to have these little things around the outside of it. And it is, you give the kid the test. Usually it's not as imperative that they sit off by themselves like you do the older grades. I usually kind of work through it with them. There's no verses to memorize in here because you're memorizing it in your manual. So it's very similar. It's a good start to the kids. They don't have to score their work. You score it. But it's a good start of just every day going in there and doing some schoolwork. Usually they feel pretty big. They get their pages done. You don't need a goal card for this because all of their goals are in here. So I don't use goal cards for this grade. I do use the star chart, and it tells them how many stars they get. And when daddy comes home or mommy comes home or whatever, you can show them the star chart and be like, oh, they got a big star today because they got 100%, which in this grade usually they get 100%. So that's about all I have. I hope you guys really enjoy using this curriculum. It's just a really stellar curriculum.